Racial essentialism means that Black folk, Latino folk, disenfranchised communities are only engaged in issues that directly explicitly pertain to race, so that there can't be any intersectional outreach or movement organizing or coalition building.
Where are you getting this from? Black folks don't do feminism? We are feminists. What are you talking about? I don't even know how to respond to that, because that's sort of an oxymoron. Black don't do feminism.
I'm a feminist and I'm Black, so I don't believe in that.
At first, I did not consider myself a feminist because I had heard a lot of stereotypes. Like, that's how I thought of feminism, was like the Broadburn type stereotypes that women were very masculine that were feminists, or lesbians, all of those types of stereotypes.
Well, this gets into the whole idea of, feminism being, a white woman's kind of, or the radicalization of white women.
They associate feminism with a certain white middle-class self-indulgence.
I understand civil rights because I walked, I marched, stuff was thrown on me, so I understand that. So if we're talking about civil rights, I understand that. If we're talking about feminism, that has to be defined to me by each individual that is using that hashtag. What is feminism to them? I know what it means to me, and it means kind of like being selfish, as I've seen it, as it's been thrown at me.
I think that there is a lot of confusion about what feminism signifies.
In the Black community, Black women tend to be the strongest of the Black race, so to speak. So we hold it down on our shoulders, Black women. You know what I mean? But I'm a feminist.
Obviously, it's a more matriarchal society or culture than the larger mainstream culture. And so the idea of women working or not working. Every woman in my family, going back to my great-grandparents, my great-great-grandmothers, worked, right? So the concept that you can have a family and also have a job is not an alien concept for us. It's not like a new thing, right?
My mother, who I think, is like a groundbreaking feminist, but she would never have identified herself that way. She was independent thinking. She worked, made money. She was a leader in her field. She's a teacher and principal in the public schools where I grew up. And the relationship she had with my father was clearly one of equality, because my mom handled everything. She handled the bills. I never heard my father like, you need to do this, or you need to do that. It just wasn't it.
And it may not be the way that we academically define it or include them in our academic discussions, but all the women in my family are feminists because they're still here. So
I don't know if we do it as a political movement. A lot of times I see Black women who would not get up on a pedestal and be marching in the street. I mean, there are some of us. I would consider myself one.
When I first encountered feminism, gosh, I'm dating myself, but 20 years ago when I first entered college as a freshman, I did think that feminism really was this white, female, straight, middle-class approach to equality. Well, what about race,
We have this conflict between European American feminists, second wave feminists, and African American feminists who are coming from a radically different perspective than white women. Obviously, because we have a history of being laborers, of being slaves, of being commodities.
Then I was introduced to the canon of Black feminist theory, which actually looks at how capitalism, racism, and sexism and gender inequality organize the lives of Black women.
There is Black feminism, there's scholarship around it, there's activity, there's ideology.
We are running blogs about Black feminism, be that Crunk Feminist Collective, be it the Feminist Wire.
Lots of people that I studied and based my degree on were self-identified Black feminists, such as, Audre Lorde, of course, Kimberly Crenshaw.
Like Ida B. Wells, like Shirley Chisholm, like literary critics and giants in feminism like Patricia Hill Collins and Angela Davis and Bell Hooks and Cherie Moraga.
Great Alice Walker called it womanism, just to make it a different name.
You can get into the nuances of womanism and all of that, but I think the core is, do we as Black women identify as women over Black? Is there a balance there? Is one outweighing the other? For me, it's certainly something that I've, been conflicted by at times because, I first identify as black. If it came down to it and they were putting all the black people on one side and all the women on another side and had to choose, I'd probably be with the black folk, I'm just saying.
There's a belief that because we are black women and that we are in a struggle, that the struggle is a unified struggle between with black men and women against everything else in society. Unfortunately, black women tend to get lost in this idea of the black struggle.
The idea that somehow if black women are advocating for gender justice, are advocating for full self-determination, that they are somehow being race traitors, that they are undermining the trajectory of trying to redeem black masculinity. And the redemption of black masculinity, unfortunately, has been a linchpin, within civil rights movement struggle and within black power movement struggle.
And so what we traditionally had through my experiences are men saying, it's okay, we're gonna get to you, black woman, but let us get through the door first, and then we'll bring you along.
As far as women being respected for what they do and having a chance to get equal work and all that kind of a thing, I just don't really think that you'll find many black men that feel that women shouldn't have an opportunity to have the same rights that they do.
I'm a feminist. I believe that women should have the right to do what they want when they want it, no different than men should. And I'm willing to do what's necessary to help that be the case. I mean, I look at things like disparity in wages, legislation about women's bodies, and I think it's utterly absurd.
The young women that I work with, and I have a women's leadership project based here in LA, in South LA schools, do not identify with that term because it's outdated, it's outmoded, it harkens back to, this bygone era when we did not have, the right to be in the workplace, to wear what we want, to have freedom of speech.
And it's really interesting because you look at young black women and it's like, you saying that you want to be in control of your career and you saying I am a career woman and I'm an independent woman, I'm doing my way, that's a feminist approach. But they never tag themselves as that.
Our challenge is really making them see that there's a deep connection between what they're experiencing, their marginalization, and the marginalization and invisibility of foremothers in the movement.
The more that I think about it, I could definitely see myself being a feminist in a way that's seeing it through a black lens.
After learning more about it and kind of debunking a lot of those myths, which again I think are not always true at all and are really unfair, I do consider myself much more of a feminist now because I realize that it's about equality. It's about promoting equal pay, for example, and I think that's really important. Just to get the idea out that feminism is not just one thing; it's a variety of things.
Desert of my form, without a trace, like a thought alone. That awkward face into this my song. Brand new phase, find yourself out.